Hello everyone, this is Shruti. I welcome you all to this session. In the previous video, we have discussed still working of heart. So if you haven't seen that video, please do go through it. In this video, we'll complete the chapter. So first, let us go with the blood pressure. Now, basically, blood pressure is nothing but the force that the blood exerts against the wall of the vessel. Okay, so basically, the force which is exerted by the blood in the wall of vessel, and that force is known as blood pressure. Now, there are two types of blood pressure. One is systolic pressure, and the second one is diastolic. Now, first of all, systolic, it means contraction, whereas diastolic, that means relaxation. Okay. Now, this is systolic blood pressure. The pressure of blood inside the artery during ventricular systole. Now, we have seen ventricular systole, that means contraction, right? And similar opposite to it is diastolic pressure, that is the pressure of blood inside the artery which is during the ventricular diastole. Okay, it is during the ventricular diastole. Now, the blood pressure, it is measured with an instrument. It is called as sphygmomanometer. Okay, so blood pressure, it is also measured, right? Now, the normal blood pressure, which you see, the systolic pressure, that is of contraction, it is 120 mm of Hg, and the diastolic pressure, that is nothing but a relaxation, is 80 mm of Hg, right? Now, high blood pressure, it is known as hypotension, correct? High blood pressure, it is known as hypotension, which is caused due to the constriction of arterioles, which result in increase in resistance of blood flow. That means there is internal bleeding. Also, the rupture of an artery takes place. Okay. So this is all about the blood pressure. Now let us go to the important topic, that is transportation in plants. Okay. Now, in the previous video, we have discussed that plant, it takes the simple compound such as CO2, that is carbon dioxide, and water with the help of photosynthesis, right? But there are also some other compounds which are used by the plant, which are taken separately, right? Also, we have seen that raw material, there are various raw material which we have discussed, such as nitrogen, phosphorus, iron, and magnesium, from which nitrogen is an essential element. Remember this. Again, I'll repeat, nitrogen is an essential element that is taken up by the plant, that is by the nearest part of the plant, which is nothing but soil, or you can say roots, right? But now, if the distance between the soil and raw material increases, basically there is a simple diffusion taking place, right? So water, it is transported to roots by simple diffusion, okay? But what if the distance between the raw material increases? So simple diffusion, it cannot complete the process. So we have another. So that is why basically, because the simple diffusion cannot complete the process, the proper transportation system is needed, right? So there should be a proper transportation system in the plant to face that situation. Okay. Now, in standard 9, we have seen that plant tissue, basically we have seen the comparison of plant tissue and animal tissue also. So plant tissue, they have greater amount of dead cell as compared to animal cells, right? Or animal tissues. Okay, you can say. So in the plants, they have low energy requirement. Okay, as compared to animal, plants have low energy requirement and can use relatively slow transportation system. Okay, now let us go to transportation of water. Basically, there is transportation of water and transportation of food and other substances. Okay, so first we'll go to transportation of water. Now, the basic, we know that transportation of water is done through the xylem, okay, xylem, and transportation of food, it is done through phloem. Okay, now what is this xylem? Xylem is nothing but the water carrying tube. It is nothing but a water carrying tube which transport the water from the roots to all the part of the plants, right? Now, plant, it needs water, mineral, salt, and other raw material which is taken up by photosynthesis, right? We have seen the process of photosynthesis. So, and by the process of photosynthesis, they take some mineral, salt, raw material, right? By the photosynthesis in order to survive, right? Now, this water and mineral salt from the soil transported by the plant through roots, and that transportation through water carrying tube is in the stem is known as xylem. Okay, and as the xylem vessel of root in contact, this xylem vessel, actually these are in contact with the soil, it actively absorbs the water ion. Okay, because of the xylem vessel of the root, actually the xylem vessel which are present in the root, they helps to take in the water, okay, or absorbing the water ions. Okay, now when it reaches to all part of the plant, there is the loss of water taking place, and that loss of water in the form of vapor, there is a loss of water through the vapor, or you can say in the form of vapor in all the aerial part of the plant, which is known as transpiration. This is known as transpiration, very very important. You can even see in the diagram there is movement of water during the transpiration in plant. So you can see there that they are moving upward like this, and then they are losing the water from here. Okay, so water vapor you can see here. This is nothing but the water vapor which is moving out. So there is loss of water, and that loss of water in the form of vapor in all the aerial parts of the plant, this is known as transpiration. Now this transpiration, it helps in the absorption and upward movement of water and mineral dissolve in it to form the roots to the leaves. Okay, from roots to the leaf. First it is taken up by the root, transported to all the aerial part, and from there is a loss of water taking place in the form of vapor. That process is known as transpiration. Okay, now this transpiration, it is basically it is more effective in the night, because what happened in a day when stomata are open, the transpiration pull become the major driving force in the movement of water in the xylem, right? So it is more important during the night than in day. Now this is about the transportation of water, which is through the xylem. Now let us go through the transportation of food and other substances, which is through the phloem. Okay, so transportation of food and other substance. So now so far we have discussed about transportation of water and mineral, and we have also seen in which there is in transportation of water there is transpiration process. But if you say in this transportation of food, there is a translocation. It is nothing but the transport of soluble product of photosynthesis. Okay, this is known as translocation, and it occurs in a part of the vascular tissue which is known as phloem. Okay, now the phloem is nothing but the vascular tissue. Okay, now let's talk about the structure of phloem. Basically, the structure of phloem, it consists of the conducting cells, okay? And these conducting cells, these are known as sieve element, okay? Which are basically they are thick, circular, and elongated cell. You may be knowing the structure already, but still, it consists of the conducting cells, which is called as sieve element, which are thick, circular, and they have an elongated cell. Okay, the food that is synthesized in photosynthesis, they are soluble. These are like sucrose and nutrients, carbohydrate, etc. These are transported to phloem in the upward direction and downward direction to all part of the plant. Basically, the upward direction and downward direction to all the part of the plant. Now, translocation we have already discussed. It is nothing but the transport of soluble product of photosynthesis. These are known as translocation. So in xylem, remember it, in xylem it is transpiration, and in phloem it is translocation. Okay, it can be done by using the energy in the form of ATP produced by photosynthesis. Of course, we have seen that ATP is produced by photosynthesis, which can be used. Okay, now it also transports amino acid and other substance. We have seen sucrose, nutrient, carbohydrate, and amino acid as well. Okay, so these all are transported in by the phloem actually. Okay, now these phloem especially transport to fruit and seed for storage, and food transported through the roots for requirement of energy in the absorption of water from soil to roots. Now let us go to the very important point, that is excretion. We'll talk about human beings also and also plants. Okay, so we have seen transportation process, all the transportation process. If you have any doubt, please to ask in the comment section below. Okay, we've discussed transportation in water, that is xylem, how it transport, how transpiration process takes place, why it is effective in night and not in day. This question are asked, so be prepared for it. And also we have discussed about transportation of food and other substances, phloem and translocation. Okay, so let's talk about excretion. First, what is the basic definition of excretion? Excretion is nothing but the biological process, of course, involved in removal of harmful metabolic waste. Okay, removal of harmful metabolic waste from the body is called as excretion. So it is a biological process involving just removal of the harmful metabolic waste from the body. This process is called as excretion. Now there's the different types, the different parts which are involved in the process of excretion and other. So the excretory system, it includes pair of kidneys, pair of urethra, urinary bladder, and the urethra. So these are all of the things which is involved in the process of excretion. Okay, so basically here it is pair of ureters. It is not the urethra, but it is the ureters. It's by mistake. So pair of kidneys, pair of ureters, urinary bladder, and a urethra. Okay, now location. So first kidney, it is located in the abdomen. There are two. Okay, one on the either side of the backbone. Okay, now how is urine produced? Now we have seen that many nitrogenous waste which are present in our body, which is actually harmful for the body, which has to be removed, right, from the bloods in the kidney. So basic filtration unit, if you talk about a basic filtration unit, it is kidney. Okay, so nitrogenous waste such as urea or uric acid, these are removed from the blood in the kidneys. Okay, so this is the basic filtration unit. Kidney is a basic filtration unit, right? Now each capillary cluster in the kidney, it is associated with the cup-shaped end of a coiled tube, which is known as Bowman's capsule, that collect the filtrate. Okay, now each kidney, they have number of filtration unit which is called as nephron packed close together. Each kidney, this has million of this filtration unit, you can say, which is known as nephron. Now we'll see nephron in detail, how is absorption takes place, and how is urine produced, and how excretory process is completed. Okay, so now let us go to nephron in detail. So the nephron, first of all, we know that it is a functional unit of kidney. Okay, nephron, it is embedded in the kidney. There are millions of nephron in the kidney. Now this structure actually produces the urine in the process of removing waste and excess substances from the blood. Okay, first removing waste and then excrete excess substance from the blood. Okay, now At one end, this tube is closed and expanded and folded into double wall cup-like structure. The structure is renal capsule or Bowman's capsule. You can see in the diagram here it is. So basically this diagram is important. This is asked to draw even if in the board exam or your school exams it is often asked. Okay, so you have to draw it properly in the correct manner as well. Okay, you should know, I mean, and also all the labels as well. Okay, maybe it is of excretion process, transportation of heart, excretion, all the process. This there are simple diagram which you should know to how to draw and how to label it, because it also have marks. It also asked, it is asked basically in boards and schools, so we'll also take the revision of it as well. Okay, now the structure of nephron, it comprises of two parts, or you can say two major portions. First is renal tubule and second is renal corpuscle. Okay, now the mechanism of urine formation takes place. So basically it's very important by point steps which is also asked in the exam. So go through it completely properly. Okay, so mechanism we'll learn. So first is ultrafiltration. Now what is it? All blood component, they are filtered by kidney except by the blood cell and plasma protein, for example urea, water, sodium, glucose, potassium, etc. So first is ultrafiltration, and here all blood component, they are filtered by kidney, but there are some exceptions for blood cell and plasma protein, for example urea, water, sodium, glucose, potassium, etc. Now, second is selective reabsorption. The essential components are reabsorbed back into the blood vessel. There are some components which are also essential. They are reabsorbed, okay, back into the blood vessel. For example, glucose, water, sodium, etc. So the second step is selective reabsorption. Third is secretion. Third is secretion. Now, what is secretion? The movement of elements such as water, glucose, amino acid, urea, etc. from the blood into the nephron, which is known as secretion. So first is ultrafiltration, second is selectively reabsorption, then secretion. Okay, secretion means movement of element such as water, glucose, amino acid from blood into the nephron. This is known as secretion. Then the water reabsorption content is further regulated before coming out of kidney through the hormone that is ADH. Okay, adenosine diphosphate. ADH, that means, so it is known as anti-diuretic hormone, which is given here. So I'll underline it. Okay. Now, urine is then formed, collected in bladder and excreted outside the body. Okay, and then, so basically there are 5 steps. So it's important, learn it. It is the mechanism of urine formation. You can also make the notes of it. It would really help you. Now, let us go to last topic, that is excretion in plants, right? So, excretion in plant, these occur through various means. Okay, there are also, you may be knowing or may not be, but plant also excrete. So, excess water is removed through stomata by transpiration, which is the process of removal of evaporation of water. We have seen the transpiration, right? When the first the water, it moves to aerial part and then it is removed through the vapor. It forms the vapor and then there is loss of water. Okay. Plant also get rid of oxidation. A byproduct is in the process of photosynthesis and carbon dioxide, which is the byproduct formed during respiration. Okay. The plants get rid of the stomata present in their leaves. Some of the waste stored in the leaf, they are removed by detachment of the leaves itself from the tree. So there's a detachment of the leaf itself from the tree. Okay, detachment is there, means the waste which is stored in the leaf, they are removed by that detachment of leaves. Okay, itself from the tree. Waste are also stored in cellular vacuole. It is also stored in cellular vacuole, which do not affect the functioning of cytoplasm because of its outer membrane, which is known as tonoplast. Because basically tonoplast, it is in the outer membrane. Okay, the outer membrane is known as tonoplast, and it does not get affected. Okay, now there are also other waste product which are stored in resins and gums, especially in the old xylem, which stopped working thereby. Okay, so it stopped working thereby. This is the process of excretion in plants. If you have any doubt, please do ask in the comment section. Also give suggestion which topic do you want me to explain so that I would prepare. Okay, so thank you for watching this video, and if you like this video, please do not forget to like, share and comment also, and also subscribe this channel. And if you have any doubt also, you can ask me. So till then, thank you and take care.